Hey gang, thank you for joining me today. I am, as I say there in the title, I hope going to do some real plein air painting. What does that mean? Well, anytime you paint, outdoors on location, that's real plein air painting. But I usually violate that rule by painting much larger. So today, I'm not painting much larger. I'm painting ordinary size. Let me turn you around here so you can see. First of all, the generally speaking, the center of that view, that's what I'm planning to paint. And here's my 16 by 24 inch canvas, which is still slightly larger than what most people do, but as you may know, considerably smaller than what I normally do. So let me get you all set up here. I'm not using my normal Mevo camera, and I'm assuming you can hear me all right. I'm about 10 miles maybe from my home. As I was driving along, I thought, no, I've had this vague notion in my mind for some time. I've called it Real America. Well, I came up with as I was driving along, I came up with some better descriptors for what is it that I'm looking for. And here's perhaps, maybe better, I'm not sure. One of the things I'm looking for. I'm looking for hard work. Not hard work for me. I'm looking for what I consider to be the salt of the earth kind of people. Salt of the earth kind of people work hard. Salt of the earth kind of people work with their hands. I'm sorry to all of you who are computer geeks and sales people and so forth. I know. You're all knowable in your own way. Yeah. But no. There's something special about, and I mean this, I'm not going to take this back. There is something special about people who work hard with their hands. There's so few of us now who do that. I consider myself a half-breed because I'm an artist. I do kind of work hard with my hands. Okay, so I'm looking for evidence of hard work, and not very long after I got that expression through my mind, I drove past this scene and said, yep, hard work. Now the sun is kind of playing hide and seek with us today. I've got an umbrella over me. I'm using my Soltech easel, which is my smallest easel. And let's get started. It's a warm or cool. It's warm because it's bathed mostly in sunlight. So it's warm. That means I want my underpainting, my chaos, my underpainting abstract. If you're a regular, you know what I mean by that. If you're not, you're about to find out what I mean by that. I want my underpainting abstract to be primarily cool, and I want it to have nothing to do with the subject matter that I'm painting. Okay? This has been my method of painting now for the last, I don't know, a year maybe? It doesn't look like it's going anywhere. It doesn't look like I'm going to be giving up on this crazy approach to painting soon, because I find myself not only liking it, I find myself liking it more and more and more. So there you go. If you wonder why am I doing that, then just stay tuned or go back to some of my previous paintings. In fact, last night, go to Daily Art Adventure 428. Just last night, I was talking late in a painting process. I'll be finishing that painting later today, by the way. I was talking about why I start out with this crazy. I don't know anybody else on the planet. I'm not trying to be weird. I'm not trying to be unique. I'm not trying to be creative. This is simply where my little painting journey has taken me. That's all. That's all I can say. This is the way I paint, because at the moment it's the best way I know to paint. Now I invite any or all of you to go ahead, give my technique a whirl, give it a try. But if you do or if you don't, I think I'm going to keep on, because at least at the moment I'm really liking it. Everybody's heard of a toned canvas, right? All artists, have heard of a toned canvas where you paint the whole canvas whatever color. Red is most typical. Brown is very typical, especially for portraiture. Okay, everybody's heard of that. Um, this is sort of like a glorified toned canvas, but the marks that I'm putting down are counterpoint to the image that I'm painting. You could say they have nothing to do with the image I'm painting, except that they are in fact opposite of what I'm painting. And that's very important in this for me, because these marks that are just crazy marks. I'll tell you what, this one up here is so fat, it's going to take forever for that to dry. So let me smear that a little bit. So one good news is I don't have to wait for this to dry, for that to dry, before I can start painting the subject matter. There were several things that caught my eye about this scene. And again, when I drove by originally, most of the time when I was setting up, I was not getting any sunshine. I even debated for a minute about not putting up an umbrella. The umbrella here today is to protect me from the sun. But now I'm very glad that I did, because the sun looks like it's going to be out for a while. I could also get rained on today, so who knows. But one of the things that appealed to me as I was looking for evidence of work, if you will. Well, it's kind of strange, kind of a strange thing to look for. I'm not trying to convey a message. I'm not being preachy, I don't think. I'm not being modeling, you know that word, modeling, overly sentimental. I don't think so. I just want to paint like ordinary life. It also dawned on me that the location, the place to see scenes like this is right on the edge of small towns. Well, cities too, but especially small towns. When I say small towns, I mean like towns of 700. That's a really small town. Right on the edge, not so much in town where there's although that could work too, where there's a stoplight and clapboard, nice clapboard, depending on what part of the world you live in. That means white houses usually painted white with horizontal striations, horizontal boards, which, by the way, okay, here's clapboard. Let me show you a clapboard house. Oh, did you see the house? That's clapboard. I think it's more accurately pronounced clapboard, but it's spelled clapboard. But I think it's sort of like a gunwale on a boat. It's pronounced gunnel, I believe. Kind of like Worcestershire sauce. If you're from England, I believe it's all one syllable, Worcestershire sauce. Be that as it may. Come here for all linguistic puzzle needs, folks. Anyway, clapboard house. What I was saying is, I think the place to see scenes like this, I know I'm talking kind of loud, but you need to hear me, right, is right on the edge of small towns, like where there is, and that is where I am right now, just outside Rolesville, North Carolina. A thriving metropolis. Actually, it is a thriving metropolis. When we moved here 30 years ago, our kids went to Rolesville Elementary for a number of years, and it was the old building built way back in the 50s, probably, maybe even the 40s, maybe even the 30s. Anyway, the town has since become a bedroom, like everything else around here, a bedroom community for Raleigh. So it's now got a bypass around it, if you know what I mean. So anyway, here I am on the edge of town, because I think that's where you find the kinds of things I'm looking for, is on the edges of small towns, because that's where the that's where the light industrial, in fact, we call it urban industrial, no, country, rural industrial, that's the word I'm looking for. Rural industrial is located on the edges of towns. Anyway, so I am, as you can see, in the process of trying to get this all rendered out as quickly as possible. I started to tell you one of the things that appealed to me was the juxtaposition of the red barn and the White House. And then I walked around. I talked to the owner, or not the owner, but the woman who was living in the house. Gave her a business card, got her permission. I had a nice chat with her. It's pretty typical when you go plein air painting, unless you're going in a state park or somewhere. You're probably going to be trespassing on private property, and it's always a delicate business. They had a big German Shepherd on the porch. Oh, good news! German Shepherd is in a cage, so I walked up and so forth. I still want much of that to dry, so I'm going to go ahead and proceed to the next stage of drawing, which is drawing with pencils. And here, of course, I'm not just tracing over what's already here. No, I'm looking at my subject matter and making changes, like this one right here. The edge of this house needs to be backed up a little bit, moved it that way. And as I said this yesterday in my broadcast, a bunch. So if you didn't catch it, I'm going to say it again. That not only is it okay for you to make like placement errors like that in the early stages, not only is it okay, it's actually beneficial, advantageous, results in a better painting. If you have some jitter, do you know that term? I think it's a photography term. If you have some jitter in your drawing, some changing your mind, some what's another iteration, some start and stop iteration in your drawing, it actually comes out better if you don't get it all right the first time. So that's fine with me that I got it wrong. It'll end up in a more interesting texture in the final painting. It is the happy accidents of painting that make you a good painter. That's my opinion. I say over and over, I'm not smart enough to paint good, and I know the word is paint well for all you English majors. I know that. But hang on, because I've got to use the word good so that I get this cute little couplet. I'm not smart enough to paint good, but I'm smart enough to recognize good painting when I see it. You see, so I can't say paint well because then it doesn't work. Okay, so you English majors, just sit on your hands. At least I, most of the time, know when I'm doing bad usage. And please notice I said bad usage, not bad grammar, blah, 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 blah. That's just to show you I'm a smart-ass English like you are. Oh. So, again, I'm drawing with pencils because the pencils make it interesting marks. They're interesting when contrasted with the paint marks. The pencil marks are a nice variation on the canvas. That's the pickets on the fence, right? And there's a case where I intentionally drew, on purpose, messy, so that I get that very thing I was talking about earlier, the jitter in the lines. I don't want to draw those accurately. Okay, the sun, as I stand here, sun's going to be going down this way, so there'll be a shadow that isn't there right now, but I'm going to plan on it at the moment. So that I hope to get a streak of light on this green grass right there. Another thing that really caught my attention in this scene was what we typically call telephone wires, power lines, telephone lines, cutting all across the scene. It's the kind of stuff that if you were making a picture postcard of your favorite something or other, you would likely eliminate the telephone wires, right? You might, in Photoshop, a photographer might even X them out. But for me, they're part of the grit. That's a good word. What I'm looking for is grit. Earlier I said evidence of hard work. Well, another good word for that. Okay, another change coming up here. I'm going to raise the roof of this barn. Raise the roof! And it was so easy to do, wasn't it? I didn't even break a sweat. I'm raising the roof not because, in fact, my first drawing was probably more accurate, but composition-wise, I feel like this is better. It looks like I'm shaping this composition is shaping up to be in Edgar Payne's book, uh, a steel yard, tall, horizontal, short. Steel yard composition. We'll see if that persists, but it always makes me happy when I can find in my composition when I can find an Edgar Payne stem, STEM. Edgar Payne, father of, I need to raise this part of it, father of California School of Plein Air Painting, 1940s, 50s, 60s. A brilliant painter. Just Google him, Edgar Payne. And if you Google Edgar Payne design stems, you will see what I'm talking about. He proposed there were either 12 or 13. He said every good composition in the world falls into one of these categories. It's a little bit like English majors, literature people will say all the good plots in the world fall into one of these, however many categories, I don't know how many it is. Same idea, same kind of arrogance, but I like it. And I've had some really good painters say, I just go with intuition. Well, yeah, good for you. But you telling me you're better than Edgar Payne? I'm inclined to doubt it. Am I better than Edgar Payne? Are you kidding? In my dreams. Someday I'll be better than Edgar Payne. Maybe. In my dreams. I like to think so. But I've got a long ways to go. So you don't dismiss the genius of manifest geniuses. You can disagree with them, but you don't disagree too quickly, especially if they're better than you. And trust me, and I say this to myself, trust me, they are. Oh, so anyway, there you go. That little defensive there. I'm sorry. I'm trying to back off on the defensiveness. But I'm cheering now. I'm not defending myself. I'm defending Edgar Payne, and I'm being a good teacher, and I'm telling students, listen, pay attention to the geniuses in the world. Maybe you can be one someday, but the likelihood that you're one now. And I'm saying that about myself. You understand? I'm putting myself in that category. The likelihood that I'm an Edgar Payne right now, very slim. Like I say, my mom, actually nowadays, my mom is still living, by the way. Love her. She's sharp as a tack. She's 92 years old, and sure, she likes me all right. But my grandson thinks I hung the moon. He says, Grandpa, are you famous yet? He knows I'm always trying to get famous. Grandpa, he calls me Big Cut, actually. Big Cut, are you famous yet? You are famous, Big Cut. You are. Oh, it's great to have and he's living in our house right now, along with the rest of his family. We love it. We love it. Love to have somebody living in your house who really believes in you, even if he is just 7 years old. Okay, now I'm doing, as you can see, I'm doing white. But one of the nice things, by the way, the reason that most plein air painting artists paint really small is because they want to get done. They want to get in, get out, slap it down, get in, get out. And if they want to do a bigger version back at their studio, they do so. That's more typical plein air painting. One could argue, I don't argue it. I say I'm a plein air painting in the school of Claude Monet. He painted big outside, so I feel like say, but almost everybody in our generation paints small. So I'm a real misfit, but I'm fit in with Claude Monet, so there you go. Be that as it may, what I was starting to try to say is I should be able to finish this here painting. I should be able to finish it quite a bit more quickly than I do my normal, 30 by 40 or 24 by 36, and even 36 by 48. Several years ago, 5 years ago, I went through a whole year or two where almost all my plein air paintings were huge, like 36 by 48. I don't know if that's huge. No, that's not quite huge, but they were large anyway. And then I also do, yes indeed, I do huge plein air paintings. That is to say, 8 by 10 feet. Yes, 8 by 10 feet. Most plein air paintings are 8 by 10 feet. umbrella is, let me show it to you real quick. My umbrella is called a Shade Buddy. There, can you see that? Shade Buddy. There's the name of it right there. Whoop, whoop, whoop. There we go. There you go, right there. And I ordered online because they said it was good for, said it was good for plein air painting. And sure enough, it seems to be working really well for me today. I'm sorry about all the earthquakes here. So last night I was talking a great deal about this quest that I've been on for 6, 7, 8, maybe 10 years. I don't know. The quest to be more accurate and also, in addition to that, more messy. So one of my good listener friends suggested I call my technique messy realism. Yep, that's not a bad name. I've got the local dog. Oh, he looks very friendly. She looks very friendly. Checking out my car, and I'm checking out, how you doing? Are you good? Are you happy? Huh? Oh, yeah, there, you can sit in the shade. You can sit in the shade all you want, just don't knock me over. Reminds me, most of you were not probably following me back. Oh yeah, you were, some of you were. It was only 8 months ago or so, I was out painting, last fall, I was out painting, and a Rottweiler, big, strong, muscular, athletic dog came out. I was painting outside a real countrified house, if you know what I mean by that. And so yes, of course they would have a Rottweiler. Anyway, at first it was kind of threatening, and then I was friendly to him, and then little by little, the Rottweiler changed his mind and decided he was in love with me, in particular with my leg. Oh my goodness, it was such a scream. I don't know when that was. It was last fall sometime. But here I'm trying to broadcast, and my whole body is going like this. I'm saying, no, go, scoot. And he doesn't scoot very quickly or easily. Oh my goodness, it was a scream. I'm trying to paint, and I've got this dog doing you know what to my leg. Oh, that was a day. They would have made a great, outtake video or something. I just got a mosquito in my ear. Sound of a mosquito. First thing I did when I got out of the car a little while ago was put mosquito repellent spray on my legs up to my knees, but nowhere else, just on my knees. So we'll see. If things get real bad, I will skedaddle out of here and go get some more mosquito spray. The last time I was out plein air painting, which is tragically been way too long, was like 6 or 8 weeks ago. Went out plein air painting, looking for the same kind of subject matter. And no sooner was I set up than, doggone it, a fire ant bit my foot. Now, I have a lot of history with fire ants. We used to live in Texas, and fire ants are the national bird of the national animal of Texas. Oh my! But turns out I've developed a real strong allergy. Not like rushed to the, well, yeah, there was one time that I was rushed to the hospital, but that was got bit 23 times on both wrists. But just one bite, oh my goodness, it swelled up. So, the challenges of plein air painting, ladies and gentlemen, not for the faint of heart. Not for the faint of heart at all. I think I've got a plastic. Yeah, good. Sometimes I like to use one of these cheap plastic things. Whatever you call them. So they're like rough palette knives. Good enough. about done with my with the white layer, and then I do need to let that dry before I can proceed with my next layer of glazes. Okay, but before I go, let me show you one more trick. While all of this is still, not all of it, while much of it is still wet, I'm going to take a chip brush. It's damp but not soaking wet, and I'm just going to run it through all of this white stuff. It does two things. Number one, of course, it makes it dry faster because I just smeared the stuff that was thick. But the other thing it does, if you do it with vigor like I have just done, it creates nice energy, strokes, lines, marks. Okay, break time. I'll be back in just a few minutes. Thanks for watching. How do I do this now? I used to know how to stop it. Hey, Toby. Hey, let me. Oh, good. One good thing about this camera is I can go back and get your comments. So let's go. Donna Gordon, thank you for streaming. Excellent, Donna. Glad to hear you've been working on it. Hey, John. Yeah, I like my T-shirt. Hey, thank you, man. David, I'm early. Yeah. Good morning, Mark. Thanks for joining me. Bethany, any tips for dealing with adjusting for the dynamics? Oh, yes, Bethany. Let me come back to that, Bethany. Toby says he thinks he's wrong. Look at it's a real that's real composition. I don't know. I think he did, Toby, but you might be right. I'll go back and look at Fragonard. I think he did. I think Edgar Payne was looking at all those paintings when he came up with his theory. That's what I see. Glad, old man, a fellow old man, eh? Bethany, you had a question about shifting light. So yeah, let me answer that before I go. Am I wide? There we go. Yes, that is the salient issue of plein air painting, is the shifting light. So basically you have 2 or 3 options. One, as soon as you show up somewhere, you go, bam, that's the lighting I want right there. And then you take your camera, shoot a bunch of pictures for later reference, okay? That's option number 1. Option number 2, which is what I'm doing today, is say, that's nice, but no, I think it's gonna be nicer in a couple hours. So you pretend, you act as though it's already, the sun's at this angle, and you try to predict and guess what the lighting is gonna be like when it gets there. Now, if you happen to be out plein air painting till the sun does get at that angle, then of course you get to correct yourself, test yourself, find out were your guesses close. And if they are, yay. If they weren't, then you have to decide whether it's worth trying to modify your little errors. So it does take some experience, of plein air painting to know what's going to happen to the sun. And you have to know which way the sun's going. It's going that way today. Today is one of those days where the sun's setting in the west. But yes, the shifting light, you must not chase the light, like change your mind as the sun moves. You can't change your mind. You have to, as I say, you have to make up your mind as soon as you show up. Very good question. Now I'll take a little break, let my painting dry, and be back in a little bit.